If you're feeling pitiful for yourself, it's going to be hard for you to get out of a rut, especially a financial rut. Because the reality of it is, the things that you don't want and the things that you're super scared of, those things magnetically attract you. So one of the reasons why you clicked on this video is because the title probably triggered something in you. You're probably undergoing some financial challenges right now and you don't know what to do. So the title speaks a lot to you because you're broke. Sorry to put it like that, but we all have to come to a reality of what's going on in our lives. So yeah, that's the reason you're here. Or you don't want to be broke. Either way, you have come to the right place, because in this video, I'm going to be teaching you 5 smart steps that you can take if you don't want to be broke anymore. So let's proceed. So before I give you all the meat and potatoes of this video, I want to give you some fundamentals. And before I do that, I want to get some commitment from you. Promise me that you're going to do these 3 things. First of all, promise me you're going to accept responsibility for where you are. As we all know, your money is your responsibility. And if you're broke right now, that means that's also your responsibility. Sure, life might have dealt you the wrong hand, or you might be going through some things. Everybody goes through things, but you and only you can get yourself out of the place that you're in right now. I also want you to promise me to be honest with yourself. You got to face the situation head on, be real with yourself, and be real with others. If you don't face the reality of it, you can't fix it. Avoiding the problems short term can feel good, but in the long term, it's going to create a ton of more problems for you. And then number 3, I want you to promise me to take immediate action. Don't wait, don't defer it till later. Take action now. Because if you don't, like I said, you're creating more problems for the future. So the first smart step, let's get straight into it. Make a plan. There's a quote that says, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And that's true when it comes to personal and business finance. So planning is super important. I see it like architecture. Before a building is built, there are plans and blueprints. You design everything before you actually see the building come into physical reality. It's the same thing with your finances. Before you see that money, before you see yourself become a millionaire, you're going to have to create that blueprint for yourself to be able to get there. So here's my advice on how to plan a financial roadmap and get yourself out of those financial problems. So you got to look at the time that you're dealing with first, right? You look at your year and then you divide them into quarters. So the first quarter would be January, February, March. Second quarter would be April, May, and June. The third quarter would be July, August, September, and then Q4 would be October, November, and December. The goal here is to understand how the whole year turns into different sprints. My next step would be to figure out what source of income that you're going to use to get yourself out of the financial rut that you're in. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It should be something that you can plan quite quickly. And keep in mind, this is just to get you out of a bad financial situation. In this video, I'm not necessarily talking about how to become a millionaire, but at the same time, you might find that whenever you start one of these things, it can blow up. Just really never know. So some things that you can do to get some income is maybe you tutor online or in person. Maybe you become a user experience tester. Maybe you get paid from one of your creative skills, something that you do, like art, like music, something that you already kind of know how to do. Maybe you offer your services as a virtual assistant. Maybe you become a food delivery driver or an Uber driver or Lyft. Maybe you deliver groceries. Maybe you babysit. Maybe you rent out your car on Turo. If you already have a car, you don't drive it during the week or on the weekends, put that boy on Turo. Maybe you sell some of the unwanted stuff or the stuff that you do want on eBay or on Facebook Marketplace or something of that nature. Anything to get you some extra money in your pocket. You got to understand that there's a ton of ways to make money, to generate income. You just have to do a little bit of research to figure out what's tailored to you. And I'm going to take a little pivot here, because one thing to understand is all this stuff starts with mindset. If you're feeling pitiful for yourself, it's going to be hard for you to get out of a rut, especially a financial rut. Because the reality of it is, the things that you don't want and the things that you're super scared of, those things magnetically attract to you. So for example, if in your mind you're like, I don't want to be broke, I don't want to be broke, I don't want to be broke. What your mind reads that as is broke. So you're scared of being broke. So what you have to do is change your mindset. You have to find ways to make yourself think positive thoughts. One book that you can read to really get yourself out of a negative mindset and into a more positive frame of thought is The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. You have to turn that fear of poverty or being broke into a driving factor. You have to turn it into something that leads you to get where you're trying to get. And ultimately, you have to make that the why of the success that you're about to achieve. And you have to believe that you're going to achieve that success. I discuss a lot about having a why and why a why is so important in my last video. So definitely make sure to check that out. So smart step number 2, you got to do what I call tightening your seatbelt. You got to cut expenses. I know this is one of the hardest things to do, but you got to do it. So as you're slicing your spending, go ahead and make a list of the things that you're going to cut out, because as your finances improve, you can add those luxuries back to your life and maybe even more. So a quick note, these sacrifices are temporary. You got to remember that making sacrifices for now are going to help you in the long run. It's called delayed gratification. And then some of the stuff that we spend money on anyway, we don't even know why we're spending money on it. So when you cut some of those things out, you realize that I didn't need that in the first place. So take a survey of your past month's expenses and review it. Look at the stuff that you're spending a ton of money on. Go ahead and cut it out. For instance, if you're shopping at Whole Foods right now, they're a little more pricey than maybe a Food Lion or a Kroger. You might want to switch up to one of those cheaper options until you can get more stable with your finances. And also you want to make sure that you prioritize the bills that you have. This will help you understand what is to be paid first. And then you set up a payment schedule that's going to help you keep those things paid on time. So step number 3, it's time to get out and do some work. So now that you've created a game plan, a blueprint, and you have your side hustle and the thing that you want to do to earn money, now it's time to put yourself out there and get to work. But you have to be really, really intentional and careful with this, because the greatest non-tangible resource that a human being has is their time. You have to make sure that you're spending your time and energy on things that are bringing you the best benefit in the long run, and things that are going to bring you closer to your goals and make you achieve them in the time that you've allotted for that, and ultimately get you out of your current financial situation and into a better one. You have to be very cognizant of your time and make sure in the time that you're supposed to be earning money, especially additional income, you are actually earning money. It's very important. And so while you're earning that money and you're paying your bills, you want to make sure you're setting aside either 10 to 20% of that income for savings. I know a lot of people say invest, but at the same time, you're trying to get yourself out of a rut. So it probably wouldn't be the best time to take some extra income and put it somewhere else. You want to keep that money in house for now until you figure out what you really want to do with it and until you get back on your feet. The cool thing about this is we value money more that we worked pretty hard for. And that's just a psychological thing. If you've went out and hustled to make this money that you're putting away, when it's time to spend that money, you're going to think twice about the way you spend it. So that part is very important. So step 4, and this is one that's more tailored to my experiences in the past. You want to find affordable ways to still have fun within that period of growth. As you go out there and make that extra income, as you're hustling, as you're thinking about how you're going to get yourself out of a financial rut, you have to find ways to still have fun. Now, I don't mean you have to take the money that you're making and put it right into having fun and going to the club and doing all this crazy stuff and spending the money. That would make absolutely no sense because it would just cancel out. But what I'm trying to say here is that you can easily get burnt out when you're trying to do this. It's really not easy to get yourself out of a financial rut. So you have to encourage yourself by still having fun within that time, especially if you use it to reward yourself for the hard work that you've done. And it'll also teach you discipline, because while you're disciplining yourself, let's say, on the weekends you take an extra gig to bartend, right? And on Friday and Saturday, you work super hard, maybe sometimes even on Sundays. If you tell yourself every 2 weeks, on Sunday, I'm gonna go get myself something nice to eat, I'm gonna go to some rooftop somewhere, or I'm gonna go hiking with some friends, or do something fun to reward myself for that time that I've spent working, you're gonna look forward to that time. While you're working and bartending and stuff, your incentive is gonna be in the back of your mind. So it's gonna encourage you to do some of the things that you're doing. Does that make sense? So that part is very important. And it's something, honestly, I didn't do in the past, and it really hurt me while I was trying to grow. So at some certain point, you are going to start getting better. Your finances are gonna start looking up. It can't go anywhere but up. At that point, you really wanna start thinking ahead. You wanna make sure that you don't get in this position again. And there's a few ways that you can do that. First of all, you can build up an emergency fund. It's a pool of money that you're going to use for emergencies. And also you wanna build a long-term passive income stream, whether that's investing into stocks, whether that's investing into an IRA, whatever it is, you wanna build a long-term structure for your finances. And then you can have some short-term passive income structures, like flipping homes, trading, buying and selling certain products, doing Airbnb, doing Turo, some of those businesses that you can set up a structure in a way that you can make money while you're sleeping. And like I said earlier, as difficult as it may seem right now, you're gonna get out of it. There is a path forward. But you can't just start like running towards the path. You have to slow down. You have to think. You have to discover yourself, rediscover yourself, and who you want to be on that other side. You have to develop a plan. You have to be strategic. You have to take the right road so you can get where you're trying to go. And let me tell you this, man, if you haven't received any encouragement, maybe from your family, maybe from your friends, you're thinking like, man, nobody really cares. Let me tell you this, you can do it. Like I said earlier, the person that's going to be able to get you out of that situation is you. And I believe in you. I think you have everything it takes to do what you need to do to get yourself out of that financial situation. It's temporary. And if you follow the steps in this video, I guarantee you're going to get there. So if you love this video, go ahead and leave me a like, leave me a comment, share this with a friend that you think needs to see this or that you think would encourage them. And once again, I'm Robert-Eze. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.